Good afternoon, Nir. I'm joined here with Nir Katchinskiy with PulseMedica to have a chat about PulseMedica, Nir, and also about the program Innovation Masterminds. How are you doing today, Nir?
I'm good, Chris. Thanks for having me today. It's awesome to chat with you.
Yeah, great to see you. We've met each other some time ago, and I'd say we've become friends and even share Facebook posts here and there. But it's great to see you. I'm very pleased to be able to talk to you today. Maybe talk a little bit about when we first met and how we first interacted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we first met through a program called CDL, Creative Destruction Labs, out of Calgary. So I try to found the company PulseMedica out of the University of Alberta. At the time when I found the company, the only available accelerator that I learned of was CDL. Met you through the program. Was in a dire need for mentorship at the time as a founder with an engineering background, and then met you and the Brasdome team. At the time where I was really looking for help to how do I set up a company, how do I set up a business plan, how do I raise money. And you guys were incredible, kind of been there for me at the time and really helped me grow from someone who know nothing about starting a company and raising funding to do that quite successfully. So it was really a great experience.
So Nir, one thing I noticed about you from the first time I met you is that you were so open for input. Yeah, I would say very, very coachable. In the mentorship world, that's kind of what mentors look for, is somebody that will actually want to take input. And I found yourself personally to be quite a sponge. You were looking for information and you were really keen to implement whatever was thrown at you. So tell me, when you first started this journey, what did you find most frustrating? The most frustrating thing when you're trying to advance this innovation?
Yeah, so maybe I'll touch quickly about the being sponge, and then I'll touch about the second point. One thing that I do tell people who kind of start this journey is it comes out of my mouth always, and I say, be humble and listen, and you'll do well. So I think just something that I live by, and I think it's really important. In terms of kind of listening to advice, etc., I think that was also not easy, right? Because you have a lot of pulling forces, a lot of people giving you different advices, and you should do this, you should do that. So I think one of the first things that I've realized, that there are a few mentors who were really open and honest with me, said, look, we're here to give you an advice, you're here to listen, but you make your own decision, kind of make whatever works for you. Of course, stay humble about it. But that wasn't easy, because there's a lot of smart and successful people around the table, and who do I listen to? What do I do? I think that's quite a challenge, in itself. And then of course, particularly for me, kind of coming with a engineering background, when someone asks me like, what's your path to market and what's your go-to-market strategy and things like this, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna sell stuff. So that was challenging, but at the end of the day, I think if people are really committed and working hard, and everyone can figure this out at the end of the day. So
to be honest with you, when we first created the program, what I found quite interesting was educating a few of the mentors about us being a pre-accelerator, not an accelerator. Like most mentors, especially in our ecosystem, they're used to seeing ventures that are a little further along, that are a little more refined. You actually have to meet criteria to get into the program, whereas Innovation Masterminds, we're helping right at the ground floor. Sometimes the innovator doesn't even have the idea of how to create a company. So when mentors come in, it has been honestly a learning process for some of those mentors to really to tame back their tolerance level and expect that they don't have something that's far along, they have something really early stage. So I found that a challenge even myself. So what advice would you give innovators coming into the program that are used to the typical incubators or accelerators where you have to be more defined. And when you look at our impressive list of founders, it's intimidating to look at the track record of some of these business people. But I have heard it over and over that some innovators are very scared to even apply to the program because they think they're too early. So what advice would you give those people that say, you know what, I'm just not far enough along to go before the Council of Founders?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think there's maybe I should even explain. I think there's a spectrum of different people coming from the academia. So first of all, the IMEG program, it takes on a big challenge. You take people who finish their PhDs or professors and try to essentially tell them, this is how you should build a company. So there's a big spectrum, like you said. There's the guys who come in and say, well, I'm kind of terrified, I don't know what to do, I'm not ready. But on the other end, there's also the spectrum of people coming out of academia who thinks, oh, building a business is easy. That's, I'm sure you've seen that too, and it's probably not easy to deal with. So, I think really my advice kind of come back to the same thing of, be humble, admit and tell people, look, this is what I know, this is what I'm good at. This was my journey when I went to CDL or any mentorship program. I said, I'm a good engineer, but I don't know how to build a business. I need that help. And then kind of when people hear it and understand that you're here to learn, you're here to absorb, you recognize what you're good at, what you're not, then they're going to help you. And I think the other thing that people should recognize, and this is why I kind of went to the CDL program and now to the IMEG program, it's to try and get that every bit of advantage. There's a huge amount of startups in Canada, in the world, and so little of them are successful in raising funds and being successful at selling, etc. So you got this advantage of people who are absolutely incredible, who made amazing companies successful. If you can get that as an advantage to push you forward, I think you really should take advantage of that. And this is something that's available here at the U of A through the IMEG program, through Brass Dome, and I think everyone should be jumping on it, on the opportunity.
Great advice. So tell us a little bit about your company.
So PulseMedica is the name of the company. We're building a medical device for treatment of retinal disease. So really, in short, what our device does is it does real-time 3D imaging of the retina, so the back of the eye. There's over 400 million people who suffer from retinal disease. Some examples are diabetic retinopathy, macular degeneration, or AMD. And so today, the standard of care is getting injections, monthly injections through your eyeball all the way to the retina. And what our device does is it does the 3D imaging in real time for delivering a very precise laser treatment to these locations. So you don't have to come back every month to get an injection. You come in, you get a laser, once a year, every couple of years, and that's it. So that's the short version of what we're doing. There's really interesting technology that we're also building around machine learning that essentially goes and detects the regions that are associated by disease to create that treatment plan automatically and make it very effective treatment, but also very quick and painless. So
what's IMEG helping you with now?
So actually right now we're preparing for our next fundraising round. Maybe I should step back and say IMEG helps us with whatever we need, right? So which is quite unique. When we need something, like we have an important meeting with a big company tomorrow, we can arrange a meeting with the mentors and say, hey, we have this big meeting, we want to talk about it. Then we say, okay, let's do it. Currently though, we are focused on preparing for our next round. So, for example, we're kind of running the ideas, what do we do? Are we doing a bridge? Are we doing a full round? What kind of mechanism are we going to use to raise the fund? So we can run those ideas by the mentors, discuss them, make some decisions. And then, once we're making the decision, the next steps will be, okay, let's review our materials, our deck, business plan, etc.
Yeah, so what you're finding with the program and with the quality of mentorship is that you've got support right from ground floor right up to financing. So you've got a pretty wide range of support coming through the program. It sounds like you're getting full advantage of the program as well. You know, one thing that's not really talked about a lot is the focus on local growth, economic growth. So working with the city of Edmonton and and Calgary and Alberta to find ways not only to advance innovative companies, but keep them here, keep them in the city of Edmonton. What are we going to do? What are we going to need to do, Nir, to keep you in the city of Edmonton once you're successful with your financing raise and you're ready to go? What is it that we can do to help you stay in the city of Edmonton?
So that's, that's a good question. I don't think I need a lot of convincing to stay, because I'd like to stay. And, this is one of the reasons I started a company here, trying to attract local talent, keep local talent. If I have to mention like a few things that would be awesome to have, there's a bunch of places in Edmonton, different accelerators, different this, different that. I think if there was kind of maybe a bigger unification for some of these with a bit of a facility and access to resources, like we are as a company, we're dealing a lot with like electronics and machining and things like this. And if we had access, like as a startup company, to a community like that has access to some of these equipment and facilities, I think that would be, pretty awesome. Otherwise, I really think that Edmonton is an incredible place for a company. One, in terms of talent, U of A produces probably one of the best talent in the world in machine learning, in engineering, sciences, medicine. Like the amount of innovations that are coming out of that faculty is amazing. So I think, the talent pool that exists here is humongous. The unfortunate part, and I've seen it close to heart, a lot of my friends who graduated with me, they end up leaving Canada, right? Because they couldn't find anything here. And my mission is actually to try and bring them back. But it's sad, because there wasn't a lot of opportunities. But recently, it seems like there's a ton of more innovation and startups that are popping up, everywhere that I can see, which is really encouraging and really, really awesome.
You're also starting to see the city now take a focus on supporting companies on the growth mode, on the scale mode. So providing that kind of support for companies like yourself. Once you come into a program like IMYEG, you gain some traction, you gain some financing. There's got to be that support at that level when you're hiring people and you're keeping those people in the city. I think we are seeing that happen now in the city of Edmonton, which is fantastic. Yeah. So, Nir, what else can you talk about about the program? If people are kind of curious about this program, should they not apply? What's so different? What's so special? What kind of comments could you make overall about IMYEG and the Brass Dome team that's really facilitating the program?
Yeah, so I think number one that I would say is it seems like it's very suitable for almost like any stage in your company, right? Like you have an idea, something you built in the lab bench, and you want to say to yourself, well, is it worth pursuing as a company? I have a good friend who is going through the program now, and he's in that stage, and I can see the amount of growth, right? Like as someone who knows only the science, and then now essentially kind of with the mentors really getting an idea, where can I get this product to? What's the vision? I think, essentially, like whatever stage you're at, you're a fit. And I think this is a great, kind of a great start. The second thing is, like I mentioned earlier, apply, be humble about it, be open to listen, come in to learn, and take full advantage of what you can get. I really don't see if you want to start a company, why you wouldn't apply, to be honest. So.
That's great advice, Nir, very useful. And I think those are some of the unasked questions that are out there. One final comment is that you commented about the talent found within the university. We have a lot of talent in other post-secondaries as well. But in terms of the access to quality people, I myself am a businessman in a world of science. I took 1 year of science majoring in chemistry. I was horrible at it. I failed miserably at it. I didn't like it. And I've been managing chemistry-based companies for 34 years. So I'm an example of the interaction between business and science to make things happen. So the program really integrates the School of Business and access to MBA students to help innovations. We ourselves have 2 MBA students through the MyTax program that are working on innovations within innovation masterminds. So I think there's also that quality business students that we want to pull into these ventures, and I think that shouldn't be forgotten. So I know you have recently recruited a great business development right-hand man, and he's doing a great job. But I feel that the business aspect is an important part of innovation advancement.
So that's actually a really good point. So kind of to your point. So I brought on, Eric Martin, who recently graduated with his MBA from the U of A. Essentially he's my right-hand man. Like I could have not done any of it without him. And so I think there's a big importance to bring someone with a business experience. No matter how smart you are as a scientist, as an engineer, you need someone like that in your team. Yeah. Period. Like you cannot do anything. I think it's all about the team, right? Like I would have not been able to do any of the stuff that I've been doing without the team, without Eric. I think that's been super, super crucial. And I think people need to recognize it, and hopefully they're recognizing it and being able to access the right people to support them. There's no question.
Eric, I've met Eric many times, and I knew you before you had Eric, and I've seen you hire him, and I've seen him interact. And Eric's a rock star. He's a testament to a great MBA program at the U of A, and I think others should follow your lead and keep an eye on when is the right time to bring in an appropriate MBA out of the university.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe one little thing that I should add, and I actually kind of heard it from a mentor through one of the programs. The fact that you're bringing an MBA person to your company, doesn't mean that person suddenly needs to be the CEO of the company. And like you can, as a scientist, you can still, be in a certain position where you can lead the vision for the company. But you can still have a business person really help shape a lot of the activities, the day-to-day activities that you're doing as a scientist, and help propel. So, that doesn't mean that someone else is going to come in and suddenly decide, kind of where the business is going to go. You just need to see it as a helping hand to help you kind of have your dream come true. So.
Hey, I'm a firm believer that the best entrepreneurs, the strongest, most successful entrepreneurs are successful because they recognize what they're not good at. And they surround themselves with people far better at those things than themselves. And I've always said that about myself. When you surround yourself with great people, great things happen. So great advice, Nir. On that note, I thank you for your time. It's always a pleasure chatting with you, and we look forward to continuing advancing the PulseMedica. We're very excited about your company, and we see great promising things for you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Nir.